3.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Idiomatic Top 3 with...
Nicholas, I'm the video game correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I'm Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic, and we have a special guest today.
Hello, I'm Phil, a game designer, so I will call myself a professional time waster.
Do you get money for designing games?
I do, exactly. Hence
So
the professional side.
That's right. We are going to discuss, as the title says, the top 3 fictional universes we want to live in.
We have set up rules. You know, if you live in that universe, you cannot be anybody you want. So you can't go and say, I want to be in the DC universe and I'm Superman. You're not going to be Superman. You're going to be the guy that Superman kills when he punches somebody through the building. Okay, that's who you're going to be.
Zod, not anybody. Zod,
Yes.
repeatedly, for an hour and a half.
Exactly. You're not surviving if you're living in that city. So you have to think about that when you choose your universe.
The world has to be cool for anybody in the universe. Even Juan the janitor, who was right behind Zod in the building when he went through it.
Exactly.
Okay, that works.
Alright, so, since there's 3 of us this time, we have a lot of material to get through, so let's get started right away. Phil, why don't you get us started with your number 3 pick for fictional universe you want to live in?
Very good. So, with these rules in mind, and, being myself, fictional universes, there is no way I could not work in the world of Star Wars. Fairly typical. Everyone knows this science fiction universe. Frankly, from a purely fun, technological, everything looks cool around me. There are spaceships, there's lasers, there are lightsabers. Kind of a novelty that would probably wear off if I was in there, but who cares? It's cool. Reason number 1.
Which planet would you be on, actually?
Ooh, that is a very good question, actually.
Endor. You have to go.
Endor. You know, Endor, I think, is the planet that I would retire on. I will go with that.
Well, I do hear that Ewok meat is very tasty and easy to hunt. So.
Easy to hunt. They can destroy machines and kill stormtroopers twice their size.
They
yeah.
did take down the whole Imperial garrison, so...
Well, yes, but presumably I won't hunt them down on, uneven ground on machines that only have 2 legs.
Okay.
And we're talking about hunting one Ewok as opposed to an entire genocide of the population.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, yeah, that probably would be easy, exactly.
Yeah, it could feed you for a year or so, maybe with the meat, maybe. Okay.
So those are some of the cool advantages of the Star Wars world. The other, especially given that I'm an everyman, I am not specifically Luke Skywalker, Han Solo getting to Mac Princess Leia, etc. Being an everyman, hopefully I will still have a high midichlorian count and can still apply my mind to learning the Force, something available to all citizens. If I so feel like it, I will go the way of the Sith, and who knows? Probably this will be worked into Episode 7 at some point, but a midichlorian injection should be able to fix that problem for anyone else.
Yeah. Or, just eat a Jedi, that'll raise your midichlorian count. That, we're very, very cannibalistic, this podcast. We are, aren't we?
What I want to do is eat the Star Wars universe. No, but actually there is one drawback for me with the Star Wars universe. I would not want to be an engineer or in construction in that universe. It's for some reason, there's no safety codes and nobody builds ramps around. So if you get injured in the leg, you fall off a bridge into oblivion every time. That I have a problem with.
I will agree. General safety, I think, is an issue in the Star Wars universe. And it's definitely something to think about when you're thinking of the universe. A lot of war going on a pretty constant basis. Hazardous, technology and ramps and things like that. It's definitely, that's why it's my number 3.
There's no ramps because everybody is so, agile in that universe. There's no more clumsiness. They've evolved past that. So nobody
You
falls
have the
down.
Force. You don't need a ramp.
Alright then, Nick, what is your number 3 pick for a fictional universe you want to live in?
Well, I would probably live in the Pokemon universe. Because it seems like very fun to raise Pokemon. You just capture a few of them, you raise them, and then you go fight people with them. It sounds like a lot of fun, and you can make your whole living off of that in that world, apparently. So
I think that's the only way you can make a living, actually.
I think you can cure them if you work at, in the Pokemon Center. Just put them on the machine. That's the only thing you do all day, and you gain money that way, I guess, because the trainers don't pay you, really, so I don't know how that works, but...
Well, your Pokemon beat their Pokemon and you pick up their change.
Yeah.
So, actually, it sounds like a terribly dangerous universe to live in, actually, come to think of it.
Well, yes and no, because from what I'm gathering, this universe is based on basically every single conflict is resolved by pitting my animals versus your animals. So in a way, kind of peaceful and nicely agreeable from that point of view. I could deal with that.
That's true.
UN is basically just one big arena where monsters are just battling each other.
Yeah. And, there's the danger of Team Rocket, but they only use poison Pokemons mostly, so you just need a psychic one on your team and you're fine, Who cares about Team Rocket?
It is a very well-balanced world, right? This whole rock, paper, scissors thing.
Yeah.
Very, very nice, yeah.
Except for Generation 1, but, I'd move to Generation 2 maybe, where they found more Pokemon, so it's more even now. But
I don't know. I think the Pokemon universe, though, is like a prime breeding ground for bullying. Because then you get the rich kids who can afford more Pokemons and, like, get them into training centers. And, like, let's say you're the guy, like the poor kid from a poor family, and you only have one Pokemon, and it keeps getting beat up, so it never levels up, so you're always giving your change away. You can never really move up the social hierarchy. I don't know.
Is it possible that the Pokemon world would be the ultimate meritocracy in that way? If your Pokemon just doesn't cut it, you're not going to make it.
No, you did not watch the series carefully enough. It's about the love you give your Pokemon, not how much training or the strength they have. It's all about, how much you love them.
I don't know. If you can't feed it because you keep getting your coins stolen by other trainers, it's going to start not loving you so much.
It'll survive on love.
That is a very important point, though. What are the socioeconomical criteria making one capable of training a Pokemon better than another?
It's how well you can walk in grass and fight other weaker Pokemons, I think, is how you train them better. It's really how much spare time you have, just walking on grass, kicking around. It's like, oh, look, a Pokemon there. So what is your number 3, Dimitri?
My number 3 pick, I'm going old school, people. I'm going with the Jetsons universe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I considered the Flintstones for a while, and then I remembered that I'd have to drag my rock car everywhere, and that sounded terrible. Like bare feet, no less.
The calluses, man. Just think about it. It's right.
But the Jetson, man, it's awesome. You do nothing. You got the flying cars I've always wanted. You got a robot maid. Yeah, you got your 9 to 5 so that you still feel like you're doing something with your life. But everything is at your disposal. It's pretty awesome.
I don't know. I'd be annoyed about, a giant laugh track behind me every time I say something funny, just like hearing ha 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 ha. It's like even when I'm, which is somebody else, that'd get kind of annoying after a while, I think.
Creepy.
Yeah, creepy is the proper word here. Very, very creepy.
But they don't seem to hear it themselves. They never react to it.
I figured that's only because they're totally desensitized to it at this point. You grow up with it your whole life, you're not going to react.
Yes, they're brain damaged. Man, that's a terrible universe, man.
No,
it's the awful truth about Jetsons universe.
I'm looking at it from a potential parent, the point of view. Like, I always want my children to have a bigger, brighter future than myself. And the cool thing about living in a Jetsons universe is that you know that the next generation, they all become like Gazoo. And Gazoo is omnipotent. And like, that's a bright future for your kid, I'm just saying.
I don't know, if you're omnipotent, it gets kind of boring and you have no more aspirations, I'm guessing.
Wow, you can go back in time and call prehistoric men num-nums. Or dum-dums. I don't know what you call them.
I guess. Yeah, you can mess with people, is what you're saying. You want your kids to be the ultimate bullies as well?
How else are they going to get that Pokemon money?
All I know is, personally, I would have an issue. I just can't deal with fishbowl helmets. It's just the claustrophobia, fashion statement. I think it might offset a lot of the comfort that I would feel in that universe otherwise. I gotta say, though, otherwise, it's a pretty comfortable place to live. Looks nice.
I know, he seems like he's driving his car too. I'd be afraid of all those car crashes in midair, It's like, that'd be scary to me.
Alright, moving on to number 2. Phil, what is your number 2 pick for fictional universe you want to live in?
Very nice, very nice. So moving on from the wonderful sci-fi world of Star Wars, number 2, feeling the obligatory need to inject some video game in this, I have gone with the world of Assassin's Creed franchise. As violent and scary as it may seem, there is one wonderful piece of technology in this universe which makes it kind of an interesting place to be, namely the Animus. A wonderful piece of technology. Also, I will add a freaking brilliant plot point used in this franchise, which allows them to repeat it ad nauseum, whether that be good or not. Let me explain. The Animus is a simple technology. It's a pod. You stick yourself in there. With the Animus, you can go back to any period in time from your genetic memory. So you can revisit the life of any single one of your ancestors. Want to go back to medieval times and meet some bunks and wenches? No problem. Want to go back to prehistoric times, make sure that there really were no dinosaurs back then, tell off those creationists? No problem, you got it in. So, just, having the whole of history available at my fingertips, I'm thinking could be a pretty interesting prospect.
How do you get Back to the Future, though?
Well, that does bring up one interesting point, actually, because you're not actually visiting the past. You are still in the future.
Okay.
You're actually living through this. It's essentially a VR simulation plugged straight into your brain, which does, however, bring up one large point, which was actually never explained in the Assassin's Creed games, as far as I know, and which is maybe slightly problematic, is when I'm visiting the past lives in the Animus, am I simply viewing this past life, or do I have the free will to act in this past life, given that it's all a simulation, things like that? Nevertheless, I think it could be interesting to explore.
Yeah, because if you would just live on what's happening and you just managed to kill somebody and they just act like normally, like nothing happened, and like they would have acted normally, that would be weird, and that would kind of break the illusion for me a little bit,
Yeah.
Oh, so complicated. It's called suspension of disbelief, man. Come on.
I don't have that. I lost that. I lost that when I stopped watching wrestling. Now I need.
Yeah, that'll ruin it forever.
Yes.
See, here's my issue with this, though, because as cool as it sounds, I just realized that I'm of Vietnamese origins. So all of my ancestors would be from Vietnam, and it's like 1,000-year war with China, followed by colonization by the French, followed by the Vietnam War. I'd have to go pretty far to find something interesting to do.
Admittedly, this world is probably, most attractive to history buffs more than anything else. Given that it would connect to anyone that you are genetically related to, if you go back far enough, you could almost, connect to almost anyone. And then, if we go back far enough, we sort of have
all common.
Yeah, very, very common ancestors. So you could almost cover...
I guess you could cover everybody if you think about it that way. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Because we all come from Adam and Eve, so we're all
we are all incestuous creatures.
So
all along, so there you go. So you could technically maybe even visit almost anyone in history.
Yeah,
interesting explorations, I think, to be done in that.
Absolutely,
indeed.
Yeah, I like that thing. All right, Nick, your number 2 pick.
My number 2. Okay, so I might be bending rule a little bit, but I'm gonna go with the Matrix universe.
Ooh.
Because I know about the Matrix and I know how the Matrix work, and you can kind of bend the rules. So I figure if I'm in that universe, I would still remain the memory of knowing that I'm in the Matrix, and I would try and mess around and bend the rules as much as I can, But
not too much, otherwise you'll get caught.
You don't want to get caught by the agents, but you still want to, bend the rule, maybe hack a little bit, make sure you, have yourself win the lottery once or twice so you can live as a millionaire, and just see what you can do. Just jump off buildings and see if you can fly or something like that. And that'd be awesome.
See, again, I'm like the big, I'm going to pee on everyone's parade, because that's an expression now. And
nice.
See, I would be definitely afraid that somebody out there, a rebel, would go I'm going to unplug you and free you, and then I'm stuck having orgies at Zion in a big cave, and that doesn't sound super fun to me.
Yeah, honestly, the citywide orgy is very scary to me. But you make a deal with, I'll give you Zion if you plug me back in the Matrix, like in the first movie. And
yeah, you can always pull a cipher deal.
That's true, and that steak looking good, man.
I know, well cooked and everything.
It looks as good as Ewok meat.
Indeed. But yeah, I would never want to be out of the Matrix if it's I'm going to be eating slop or these delicious steaks. No, I want in the Matrix. I really want in.
Sort of like being in the Matrix universe would then sort of be this high-risk gamble, right? It's everything's really awesome. There's just constantly the risk that you might wake up in a strange pot of pink jelly with alien robots.
And a bunch of tubes and me. It's that's kind of gross. Yeah, no.
But yeah, if that doesn't happen, then it is pretty good. I will, though, also be devil's advocate in this particular category. Simply by saying that I'm not convinced that this universe is fictional. We could be living in the Matrix universe right now.
Well, actually, if we were living in the Matrix universe, it would still be fictional, technically speaking.
Damn, now my brain's hurting because I think we're going to fall into the definition of fictional.
It's robot fiction.
I will just sell this and jump off the balcony. I'll be right back.
Interlude.
So we just came back from the hospital, and Dimitri, what is your number 2?
My number 2, as you might have noticed, I have a healthy obsession with food in this episode specifically, and so I have chosen as my number 2 pick. I want to live in fast food commercials, man, because the food always looks so amazing. Like in real life, you know that they pour oil and like Vaseline on it to make it glisten and everything, and that's terrible. But in that universe, that stuff is real, man, and that stuff looks amazingly good.
I know.
And you get service with a smile everywhere you go, which is awesome. Everybody seems to be friendly in those universes. And the best part is everybody acts like a $7.99 combo is the cheapest deal on earth, which makes me think the salaries are pretty high over there. So it's good living, man. That's what I'm saying.
I guess so. I'm just thinking about the food now, and yeah, I'm hungry. Because I do love fast food, and yeah, when you look at fast food, commercial food versus what you actually get, you're kind of disappointed. You know, the Big Mac is not that big when you look at it. So yeah, I guess for food that size, $7.99. Probably a great deal, really. I agree with that.
What's that movie with Michael Douglas where he walks into the McDonald's restaurant, and he like orders a burger, and he gets, a burger that's nothing like what's on the...
Falling down.
Absolutely. And he pulls out a gun and shoots at the place. That's how different the look is, definitely, of fast food. It does look amazing, but personally, I'm not sure if I could deal with only being able to take one bite out of every item of food.
Oh, that's a good point.
Really, because, that bite looks amazing. I will grant you that. It looks like the most delicious, fresh, plump food you will ever eat. I'm not even convinced that I'm actually swallowing that.
Yeah, I know. You're just chewing and smiling, and then that's it.
It's, it might be the ultimate temptation. And really, the whole world is one big tease.
Also, imagine being on the customer service side of it, like always having to smile, even when like this guy who's a complete numbskull orders the wrong thing at the beginning, just so that the second guy can go like, well, actually, you can do this. Oh my god, every time I wouldn't be able to keep that smile.
Well, you might be convincing me about this universe with this, because I have worked customer service quite a bit. And the people in those fast food commercials are smiling for every single customer, but they look like they mean it.
Yeah.
They look like they are genuinely happy working in customer service. So, if there's a world where I could work customer service and it would actually be the happiest thing in the world, that, there's some weird bliss going on in that place.
Maybe that world is kind of like the Soylent Green universe, where like the only food available is from fast food, so they're really, really lucky they have the job, because that's the only place people can get food. So that's why they're smiling. They're like, I have this job, and you guys can't do anything about this, So maybe that's why they're smiling.
They're actually the highest paid people in that society.
Exactly. Who knows?
Well, you've successfully ruined it, so let's move on to number 1.
Darn.
Alright, Phil, what is your number 1 pick for fictional universe in which you want to live?
Absolutely. The number 1 pick, the ultimate fictional universe that I would want to live in, ultimately for me was actually a very easy decision. I've been wanting to live in this universe since I was a very small child. Specifically, the Star Trek universe of Star Trek The Next Generation, late 24th century, 2360s, 2370s. My God, is there a more comfortable and utopian world to live in? I do not think so. The Enterprise, first of all, kind of looks like a big flying couch. It's really, really comfortable in that place.
That's true.
Talking about technologies, you've got the ultimate sort of things you could ever want. First of all, everything is limitless, essentially. Humanity has discovered limitless resources of power and energy, hence never run out of fuel, never run out of anything, no poverty, disease is gone. You can replicate and create food out of thin air, any food you like.
You want meat?
You walk me. No real alcohol. We can talk about the whole synthahol thing at another time, but still, instant food, pretty cool.
Oh, there is some real alcohol.
There is real alcohol.
People still like it, so they still make real alcohol.
You just can't generate it.
Yeah.
The dynamic, or out of thin air, or out of this replicator.
Actually, you can as well. You just need to set the computer specifically.
With a good hack.
Yeah. The default is synthahol, but you can actually ask for real alcohol from the computer.
My God, this universe is actually getting better.
Yes.
Dare I mention the holodeck? Live in any sort of fantasy that you were interested in. And ultimately, really one of the things that for me makes it the ultimate universe to live in is the underlying philosophy of the thing. How humanity has sort of transgressed all of the needs and sort of petty violence and a lot of the issues that we've deal with currently, and essentially the whole purpose of humanity is to make themselves better, to go out in space, learn more, be smarter, and that's it. So yeah, pretty freaking ideal world.
It's such an altruistic view. I like that world, but for like totally selfish reasons, really. It's like
that's what's beautiful about it. You can be selfish in there, and it's the most amazing place to be.
Yeah. The replicators are great because I hate cooking, but I love eating. So replicate whatever food you want.
Mm-hmm.
Transporters are great because I like traveling, but I do not like to travel, if that makes sense.
Oh my God, I hadn't even mentioned the transport.
Yeah, getting there is a pain. Once you're there, it's great. So yeah, I'd like to visit Egypt. All right, go to Egypt immediately. I'd like to visit China. Go to China immediately. That'd be spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And the holodeck seems to me like the biggest, most awesomest video game ever. So that would be just great. Like 16 hours a day in the holodeck.
Yep, pretty much.
So yeah, it's pretty much selfish for me, but that would be a great universe to live in.
No, I agree. The teleporter and the holodeck alone are big sellers for me, certainly. And also, like, freaking Starship, man. I can see, like, outer space and see other civilizations and not interfere with them, but, like, totally do at the same time.
There's always the chance that you get shot at, though, and, your ship destroyed. So I would stay firmly on Earth and appreciate the holodeck.
Well, that's why if I were to live in any Star Trek universe, I would live in the Star Trek The Next Generation, but from the rebooted continuity from Spock going back in time and getting the new movies, the J.J. Abrams movies.
This is interesting.
Because in that The Next Generation universe, they've conquered death. Because as we've seen in Star Trek Into Darkness, somebody can die. You just inject them from blood from a character that I guess... Tribbles.
Triple blood.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. And then you can live again. So by the time The Next Generation kicks in, I'm sure they've synthesized that stuff. You're immortal on top of everything.
Damn.
That is true.
That is true. It can get better.
All right then, Nick, your number one pick for a universe you want to live in?
Well, it's a universe from a video game called City of Heroes. And I know I gave an example earlier talking about the DC universe that, hey, you can't decide to be a superhero all of a sudden, when you enter the universe, you're yourself. Mm-hmm. But in that game, you start from nothing. You can just grab a bow or a rifle or something, and you just start knowing how to shoot the bow regularly. And you get some experience as you shoot bad guys. You try to not shoot the civilians, but that those are just side casualties there. Who cares?
That
but
stuff happens.
Exactly. You were trying to help, and as you shoot the bad guys and you get better and better, you learn trick shots and stuff like that, and you get to be a full blown superhero when you reach level 50, which I guess is when you're 50 years old or something, or whatever. And if you ever get quote unquote killed, it's just basically you get teleported to the hospital a few milliseconds before you die, so they regenerate you. So there's no death from being a superhero, and you can be one if you want to. So it's a great universe.
Yeah. Also, I've read some of the origin stories that the players create themselves for their characters. So that means if you don't even have to just start using a bow. All you have to do is just take the most dangerous job ever. And somehow, instead of dying, you'll gain superpowers from it. Oh, yeah. That seems to be the norm.
Radiation is magic in that universe. It gives you all the powers you want.
It's a superpower machine.
Exactly. Yes, the best one is you just have to do nothing. The best one I read was some guy, he got hit by a meteor and the meteor smashed his legs. So the doctor came and gave him robot legs, and that's how he got his superpowers. So he was just standing in a field and he got robot legs, and he death kicks people now.
I like how the doctor couldn't give him robot legs before he had got hit by the meteorite. But now it's like, okay, well, we gotta get new legs. Let's go with superpower.
Good thing you got that meteor insurance.
Pretty much.
Absolutely. But that is interesting, though, because it does seem to be a world that essentially rewards jackass-type chutzpah and balls of just, alright, you want to throw yourself into the most dangerous situation? You will be better for it. Go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
That is an interesting way to look at the world. And I have to admit, a superhero world where anyone can be a superhero, because otherwise DC, Marvel, these things are so elitist, really, when you think about it. You know, you got a dozen guys and everybody else is shit.
Pretty much.
This is very interesting to me. I will, grab my spatula and practice with it often enough, and I can actually develop spatula superpowers.
So what is your number one, Dimitri?
My number one pick for fictional universe in which I want to live in, the Legoland universe. Mm-hmm. And now we've talked about all of the different perks of all these different universes. And the thing with the Legoland universe, with Lego acquiring more and more and more licenses, you have access to all of it. You want to practice magic with Harry Potter? Done. You want to be in Star Wars and eat Ewok blocks? Done.
Wow.
You want to
have a real obsession with that Ewok.
It really looks good. Want to be a ninja? Go? Done. You can be anything you want. Batman, Superman, anything. Because all you have to do is find the piece and put it on your head or change the body part, and then you're Batman. You don't have to actually have your parents killed or anything. You're invulnerable, and you blow into pieces, but you can pick yourself up again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There's no death in the Lego universe.
Exactly. Yeah. And imagination is your limit as to what toy you want to play with. It's a perfect world.
Yes.
Not to mention that everything in your world is very easily deconstructible and reconstructible. Literally, take your house, just sort of take blocks down, build it back up any other way you want. It's the ability to sort of construct anything around me at any time, including myself from different pieces. Gotta say, that is pretty cool.
Yes.
I would have been terrible at that universe as a kid. Because I remember my parents giving me like a box of Legos. And after a couple hours, I had finished Legos. And my parents were like, what do you mean you finished Legos? Like, I did all the examples on the box, so I'm done. And I could not figure, you can do other stuff. Other stuff like what? What are you talking about? Well, use your imagination. Well, I don't know what to do with the blocks. So as a kid, I would have been pretty terrible in that universe. But I guess now I can, adapt a little more and, at least build myself a house or something. That'd be good enough.
So as long as you have a plan, you'll be fine.
Yeah, pretty much. If I get, that's good, just plans, Or I find a Lego box somewhere, just breaking the fourth wall. It's like, okay, I can do this now. All right.
There you go. I also have to add that the Lego universe is a pretty freaking hilarious place as well. The pantomiming that sort of goes on in a lot of those scenes, as we may see even in the upcoming Lego film.
Ooh. Yes, I've seen that.
I am nodding emphatically. Yes,
yeah, I've seen that.
I've
seen the trailer for that.
Yeah, exactly. With all these characters, every single representation that I've seen of the Lego universe is absolutely hilarious. What they do with these characters, sometimes like the Star Wars Lego stuff, great. So I'm assuming that Lego universe is just non-stop hilarity all the time.
True. The one drawback I have to say, even though it's my number one pick, the beds look super uncomfortable.
Yes, six little posts.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's great for orthopedics.
Yeah,
that does kind of bring me to also my potential drawback to that world, because it is an amazing world sort of for your inner child, but I'm not sure how happy I would be being a blocky, yellow, asexual creature of some sort. Might be that the preoccupation has totally gone from my mind. Might be that I might get obsessed with sticking pegs into holes, so I don't know. It's slight reservation on that front. Otherwise, greatest place to be. Also, I think you could probably change your gender just by drawing cleavage on your chest. I think that's pretty much what differentiates.
And lipstick on your...
And makeup on the face. Yeah, exactly. That's what differentiates male and female Lego characters.
I think I would miss electronics mostly,
Oh, no, but there are electronics.
You got the Lego Technics.
Exactly. Really? Yeah, you got the Lego Technics. Actually, if you want curves on your women and everything, they have the new line of girl Legos that they came up with.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a mix of Bratz and Lego, essentially.
That is scary.
Alright, I guess that's it for us. So, if you guys want to share with us what fictional universe you want to live in. Please write us at mail@idiomatic.com, or you can post a comment at idiomatic.com. We are also on Facebook, on Twitter, on iTunes. See you next time, guys.